Howdy, howdy, and welcome to My Bloody Judy with your final faguettes, myself, Zachary Patton Garcia.
And Ian Carlos Crawford.
How you doing today, Ian?
I'm alright, I'm a little cranky.
Yeah?
How about you?
Why are you cranky? I'm fucking cranky too. Let's talk about our crankiness real quick, okay? Why are you cranky?
Because I had a week's vacation and I didn't actually do any vacation things.
We could have like paused recordings for that if you wanted to.
That's fine.
I've had fun doing the recordings.
It's just I really just wanted to watch TV and clean my room, and I haven't even had a free moment to clean my room.
Well, then we are going to discuss that right after recording, because that is fair. You deserve a little bit of time off. Isn't that what happens with content creators, though? You get like some time off and you still create content. Well, yeah, there was a. Are you familiar with Monster High? It's like a doll line. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they had like a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive that was exclusive, or it was for sale at the Comic-Con, right? But obviously I'm not going to the Comic-Con, but they also had it going for sale today at 9 a.m. Pacific time over on the Mattel Creations website. And so I got my ass up like an hour early. I already had to like wake up at like 3:30 to take Alice to the airport. And then I went back to bed for, a little bit. And then I woke up like an hour early. I got on the computer, made sure to put all my card info in because this shit was going to go. It was going to go fast. Put all my card info in. I made sure that I was going to be fucking ready for this. As soon as 10 a.m. hit, I hit 10 a.m. my time, hit purchase on it, put one in my cart. I wasn't trying to be greedy. I wasn't trying to take any more than one, just wanted one for myself. And I really wanted this fucking doll too. Like I really wanted this. It was like a Frankie Voltage's whatever doll, and it was like black and white, so it looked fucking cool, and the box was like awesome. So I wanted this fucking doll. I put it in my cart, and they put you in like a line to like check out, and I was literally there at the exact minute that it went live. It was in there. I was in line for like 7 minutes. It had me, and then they were all sold out. So
the San Diego Comic-Con stuff is just like impossible to get.
It's wild. I think Mattel put all of their shit on the website all at once, and not just like the dolls on one day, and then so
Hasbro does that too.
It's fucking ridiculous, and I couldn't believe that they did that. This damn company has so much money that they could figure out a way to have it so that when you add something to the cart, you have like 5 minutes, right? You have guaranteed 5 minutes to like purchase it, and you get it. I think that's very fair. But what happens is they don't have that sort of system, so it's a free for all. It doesn't matter if you're there on the dot or not. And then Alistair showed me a Reddit thread that there's like people buying bots because they limit two per customer. So there's people buying bots in order to buy all this shit up. So I get to the checkout and it's all sold out. I go straight to eBay, and this is a $75 doll, and they're selling it for like $200 to $300 already. Like already. I am fucking pissed. I am like livid at this shit. This is the second time this has happened, and I'm here. I'm ready to do it. I do all the steps to make sure that I'm in line and ready to go, and like I don't fuck around. So it's bullshit. I'm also in a very cranky moody, and so
I don't know. Did I ever tell you that the one time I went to San Diego Comic-Con, so like Marvel Legends, the Marvel figures usually have like some exclusive. I don't think there's one this year, but they've been like kind of lackluster in the last few years. But when Hasbro first acquired, because it used to be Toy Biz, which is a company that doesn't exist, that did the Marvel figures. And Hasbro was a little like hit or miss when they first got them, but now they're even better than they used to be.
Yeah.
But like the year we went, I think was like maybe the second year that Hasbro had the rights, and they put out like two different box sets of like Hulk figures, and then what was the other one was like, this is so, I'm sure you've never even heard of these characters, because why would you? Kazar and Shanna.
Yeah, they're not ringing a bell.
From like the Savage Land, which is like a spot near Antarctica in the Marvel universe where everything's like dinosaurs and cave people. And they were like one of those weird comics that like Marvel inherited from a different brand. But they had a box set, and I fucking stood in line for, I think, like a good 4 hours to get both box sets all day. That was what I did. I was like, nope, I'm sitting right here and I'm getting them, and I got them. And that shit goes for so much on eBay, but they're like my prize possession.
Oh, but you got them.
Yeah, I
Okay, I
got
thought the story was gonna end with
no,
you
no,
got
no.
to the
Like
lot. Okay.
my friends were like, "You really want to spend your whole day?" And I was
Oh
like, "Yep,
fuck yes.
I
Okay,
damn right I
well,
do."
you and I are the same already on that, right? We're those type of people. We will spend an entire day at
Right,
whatever
like
just to get what we needed. I'm just so frustrated because I really wanted this one. Like I really wanted this one because the other one sometimes I miss out and I'm like, well, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm really fucking upset about this. So I'm excited that we're gonna be talking about this movie because I really enjoyed this movie. We're gonna be talking about Nope today, the newest Jordan Peele movie. We both
I
saw it
want you to go
yesterday.
first. I want you to go
Okay,
first. I
we
always go
both saw
first.
it yesterday. Do we want to do that thing where we guess?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Okay, I think you. I think you loved it. I think you
I think you
loved
loved
it.
it. I think
Okay.
you loved it.
Okay, I did love it. I did. I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. I thought when I looked at the runtime, I'm in a very pessimistic place in my film attitude, and whenever I see a 2 hour plus movie, I always like
Same.
judge
Yeah.
it I prejudge it now.
Like I was
This
very
was
happy Thor was not 2 hours. Like I was like, oh my
God,
god.
oh my God. But this was like really nice 2 hours 11 minutes, and I had a great time with it. I thought it was plotted out so well, and it like felt like a return to classic filmmaking where we had sets and we had like specific characters we focus on. We're not trying to go all over the place and do too much. We're very much focusing on our central story, with a little bit of a B plot, and I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Kiki Palmer. I knew I was going to. I love Kiki
Yeah.
Palmer. I enjoyed her brother. He was in the first Jordan Peele, Get Out, right?
Yeah.
And then who I didn't expect, but I knew I was going to love them, right? I did not expect, I want his name because I want to make sure we shout him out. Brandon Perea as Angel. I don't even remember them ever calling him Angel.
When they're at checkout, because he fills up his name tags, he's annoyed.
I had no idea he was an invented character in this because I've really tried to not watch anything, right? And he was like one of the highlights of this movie for me. I loved him, and he got his shit rocked over and over and over again.
I wanted him to be gay, so him and Kiki Palmer could be like gay straight girl like besties.
He could be. We just didn't go
Right.
into that, right? So
Yeah.
he could be. He could be.
Well, he
reminded
mentions
me,
like a girlfriend, but yeah.
he could be bi though.
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of Elliot from Euphoria, which I know you didn't watch, but he looks very much. It's like the same sort of haircut in that, but he was like gorgeous. Couldn't take my eyes off of him, and I just really enjoyed his character. And yeah, we'll get into that. So your thoughts?
Yeah, I fucking loved it. I think it's my favorite movie of the year.
Over Scream?
Yeah, I think like, okay, if we're saying like, like if I'm trying to be more objective, I put this movie, but probably not objectively Ian, I put Scream at the top just because,
Okay.
But I think objectively, this was like the best movie I've seen this year. I just thought it was like, it's so weird because none of the advertising quite nailed down what it was. Even the ones that I told you not to watch that I thought were spoilery, those made it seem like not scary at all. Like they made it seem like straight up, just aliens, and these like crazy kids on a ranch. Like that's what the like most recent trailers that I thought were spoilery made it seem. And I was like, oh, this is going to be another Jordan Peele where I don't find it that scary. But I thought, one, this was Jordan Peele's best movie. And two, I thought it was a perfect mix of like Spielberg sci-fi and like horror-y stuff.
Yeah.
And like I even told my dad I think he would like this because my dad loves like Alien, Predator, Signs, shit like that. And like this is definitely like horror that falls into that category, right? And I don't say that as like a negative, because it does the sci-fi stuff really fucking well. And I said this a few times about like certain, I don't know if you've ever felt this way, like you've listened to like an album or a song, and you're like, oh, this feels like it would be in a really good scene in a movie or something. And like I remember the last Jenny Lewis album, I was like, fuck, this feels like a movie soundtrack. Like I want all these songs in a movie. And this felt like a fucking book that I would love. Like I kept picturing like me and Alistair having book club for this book. Like it felt like anytime there was a title card with like the name of one of the animals, like that was a new chapter.
Yeah.
And it almost could have been like, like 6 short stories about whatever the town's name was. And it was really enjoyable. And like Kiki Palmer, like put her in more fucking horror movies. Like she's just, I was glad they let her be Kiki Palmer because Kiki Palmer is so fucking charming, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like that, they let her lean into it. And that show like was like, she was one of the most charming characters in horror that we've gotten in forever, I feel like.
Yeah, so basically this is going to be a gush fest over the new Nope movie. I if there's any sort of some like deeper meaning that we're
yes.
supposed to look into, I've only seen it once, okay? So I'm not going to pick up on that yet. So give us give us a break.
I was trying to like research like if there was like
the extras. There's always extras in a Jordan Peele movie, and so like we just didn't pick up on it on this one. Okay, we'll pick up on it at a different watch.
I was really hoping because you're better at the research part than I am. I was like maybe Zach because I couldn't find anything that said like
Well, covering this stuff like regularly in order to make it entertainment, and us talking about this be entertainment. Sometimes you lose just enjoying something and watching it. So when I watched it, I'm doing this new thing where I like really focus on just watching something and not really looking into deeper meanings or anything like that. And if I pick it up naturally, then I just pick it up naturally. Because I have like clearly the whole Gordy storyline is supposed to be something deeper that I just have not done my full thought process on yet.
Because I really thought the Gordy was going to be like, because like we got that before
driving the spaceship.
We knew like we got that before we knew the full picture, right?
Yeah.
So like I thought that it was going to be like because it was another animal, right? And he had his own title card. I really thought it was going to be like this is the aliens' effect on animals, and like Gordy had where he was being kept. There was also a UFO like flying above that animal thing. I thought we were gonna. That's the only part that I'm like. I still thought it was good, but it was like, why are we? But my defense of it is, have you read a lot of Stephen King or read any?
Oh yes.
Like,
oh yes.
He loves a chapter that like just is makes in detail about nothing that matters, right?
Yes, and you'll hear about it in 20 other books too.
Right.
It'll always be referenced back.
And like I've only read like I haven't read a lot of his books. So I've only read like I think 4 or 5. But even the 4 or 5 that I've read, it's like, all right, like. And I almost feel like this is a better version of that because normally it's like just describing like that kid fucking walking into a room, but this was at least like describing a horror scenario. And it was well fucking like that was very scary. The child hiding under the table.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't know if that bothered you, but it didn't bother me. But it was a little bit like, like a little disjointed, but
and it connected in a way. I think that because there was the shoe that was like up, and that was very clearly there and purposeful. And so I'm believing maybe that is what is his name in this movie? Ricky. I'm believing maybe that's he's had like experiences like this before, and maybe this isn't one that's connected to the same sort of monster, but some sort of supernatural something that he is more in tune with, and so this is how he would pick up on this. Because I guess that's the big twist, right? Is like Ricky already knew about this, and so both sides of the wrench now know about this. Kind of going into the movie, it is I loved that everybody knew it was going to be an alien movie, but I don't even think it's an alien movie, right? It's just a creature feature.
Right, it's like a monster
We don't
movie,
know if that's like an alien, right? It is just something that's already there. I loved the design of it. I loved that we both got enough of it that we could put it together in our minds, but like still, it's still such a mystery. Where did it come from? How does it operate? Stuff like that. But then we like saw a whole fucking shot, like a long shot of people going up in it and like it basically eating people. And I thought that was fucking wild because you don't see shit like that. When you see an alien, you don't see the mechanics
of it, right?
Yes.
Like,
yeah. And
that it's like, oh, these are families. Like,
I felt so bad for his co-star who like had been mangled, right?
It's like, yeah,
give her a break. Home. Let her survive. I was rooting for her throughout this whole movie. I was waiting for her.
Zach, I really felt the same way. I was like, this poor lady, come on. Like,
and then I thought, like, well, surely they're not like dead. They're like there, and we're gonna go up into this like craft, whatever this is, this spaceship or something. Yeah, because when he first started saying like it's alive, or like I know or he didn't know that yet, right? It's when he went to their ranch that he figured that out.
Yeah.
Okay, so at that point, they still think it's like a UFO, and I'm still thinking it's a UFO, and it looks like a UFO, and it comes down, it looks like a UFO. And then just the way it kind of morphs throughout the movie and it like spreads out. And I just think it was like brilliantly designed. The little the green squares that come out and kind of like, it's almost like, like an animal kind of like, warding off the prey or warding off their enemy, like when skunks or trying to tell people to stay away from them, they do
Right.
this little like shuffle backwards thing that they do. And that's what it felt like and it made it all that much more realistic because we all know, we're familiar with animals and how animals act, right? And this is almost, it read to me more like an animal than an
Yeah.
alien.
Well, and I mean, they said that, I forget at one point, but I think like OJ says, like, you can't train a predator, right? And that's what this is, a predator. And I kind of like that. I will say I'm like a hard sell on like, normally I don't think this would have landed as well if it weren't for the movie. This is weird to say, but I didn't love that choice of making it a monster, but I thought it fucking worked. Like, I
Yeah.
thought I kind of, I guess the reason for me is that it doesn't work is it makes it less scary for me when it's like this giant thing. Cause it's like, all right, well, it can't be anywhere. You know where it is. You can see it coming, but it's still going to fucking eat you. Like that's more or less, then it becomes less horror and more just like action to me. Cause it's like this big giant thing, but it was still intense. So it like fucking worked.
It was still intense, and it leaned like it's definitely horror, but it definitely went more into sci-fi as well.
Yeah.
So it
And like, that's fine.
yeah, I liked it a lot actually. I liked it more than it being like an alien craft. I love an alien, And when he was in the barn and those kids were with the mask, I was like, this is fucking scary, man. I don't
Right?
like this.
When the first kid moved, I literally
I
went,
know. I don't like a thing in the shadows like coming slowly toward me. I don't enjoy that. But it's a monster, and how many there's so many questions. How many monsters are there? How many things I was a little unclear with some of this lore, right?
yes, I was unclear too.
So at the end, after they get the footage, did they not get the footage of it?
Right? I wasn't sure either.
Because I thought they did, and then the guy is like freaking out like he didn't get it well enough, so he goes out, and it made no sense why he went out, but he was like, damn possible. I'm like, no, I don't understand, sir. I don't understand what you're talking about.
Because like, I was like, oh, is the ship going to spit out the fish? But it doesn't spit out the fish. It just like fucking eats him. So I was like, I could see if he was like, my camera's going to stay here and I will sacrifice for the shot, but he doesn't sacrifice. He sacrifices the shot. And
himself for an inside view, I guess. And then she does get a picture at the end, but is that the only evidence that they have then? Is that it? It's clear enough, and it looks. I loved the way they brought that well back in.
Yes,
I thought that was fucking brilliant. I was so excited about that.
And like you and I, I feel like this is like I was thinking like how I knew that you were gonna like this movie. I was like, oh well, Zach and I, we love kind of like she like fit into like Cordelia Chase Buffy-esque vibes of like girls that like a straight dude would be like, oh, she's dumb, oh, she's not, but like she's the one that fucking like gets the picture, right? Like she's the one that like gets proof, and she's smart because like I didn't fucking think of that, right? I had already forgotten about that. Well,
oh no, I hadn't. I was thinking about it the whole damn movie. Because I knew that they were going to do something with it because they focused on it too hard.
I thought we were going to get a bleak ending of like all of them dying. That's what I thought we were leading towards, and I would not have liked that at all for this movie. But I was glad that she was like, nope, she's smart. She's going to get this fucking picture, and if she gets eaten, at least there's proof of like what happened.
Yeah, I think Jordan Peele's really good about that though. Is that he doesn't really do like, I mean, people die throughout it, but our main people usually don't die in a Jordan Peele movie. These last three, right?
I mean, but in Us, it's like the people kind of take over the world, right?
Kind of, but like they're alive. they're out there. I don't know, because when it got to the end after they get the footage, I'm like, well, then now we know not to look it in the eye. We know that we can just leave, and we know the way out. We know how to go without it like coming after us. But
it still did.
That's what I was. That's what I was really confused about. Is like, why was she planning to go to the well to get a picture of it, or because she couldn't be? She didn't know it was going to end up.
She was just trying to get the fuck out of there. Yeah.
But then, how come we didn't just leave as a group then? How come we didn't just go? We got what we needed. So that's why I'm thinking maybe they didn't get what they needed.
Yeah, I don't think so.
They should have made that a little bit more clear. Like he says,
there were a few things, like, even though I love the movie and I loved it. So my critiques are, these are critiques, but it's not like me saying, because I thought it was fantastic, but that was I felt the ending needed a little bit more. I don't always need a little bit of an epilogue, but I would have liked, after she sees him, that he like made it, if we got like, because she mentioned Oprah so many times, and I know this is this would be like, Right. It would definitely be hard to get Oprah. Like I read Tina Fey's book and the episode of 30 Rock where Oprah's in it. And like 30 Rock was like, it's not like that was a no-name show. Oprah canceled, like wasn't gonna do it till like I think she said yes like an hour before they had to record the like cameo she was supposed to record. And Tina Fey talks about how like they changed everything because it's fucking Oprah. So of course they're gonna say, okay, sure. And they like changed their whole schedule for Oprah. And I kept thinking, how cool would that be if the end was like a little epilogue of the three of them being interviewed by fucking Oprah? Like that would, I felt like I needed just a little bit more like relief to know that they were okay. And it's like, look, now they're like, they talked about Oprah and now here they are on Oprah. Like I thought that would have been cute, right?
It would have been great. I wonder was there anything to specifically time this movie? Because Oprah, like the clips that she was watching sounds like it was from the show, and the show ended like a good deal ago. So I wonder if it was supposed to be set during that and I just missed that, or if they had anything like updated that is
no, because she had her vape wouldn't have been around.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
It's just like Oprah's like famous, you know, she's still famous. So
yeah, but it's okay. I think it's more implied that, you know, the goal is Oprah. They're gonna get to Oprah probably. So yeah, I had a little bit of question on that, on like why they didn't just go, but I think overall I was pretty good with the way everything was set up and the way it like paced and
it's very entertaining.
We find out about it. We have scenes of them finding out about it, kind of interacting with it. We have scenes of them figuring it out. Like everything's moves very well, and we don't really branch out. The only time we really branch out is into the Gordy B plot. But you know, there's not a bunch of side characters that we have to interact with and have like a 4-minute, you know, banh mi sandwich conversation with, right? Like everything is very like direct.
That you keep going back to
I fucking hate that part.
I feel like if I went back,
this is the worst part of Halloween 2018. You can completely shit on that one. But like that's what I'm talking about. Is like there's like side stuff too much.
But it's not
sometimes in a David Gordon Green and with Jordan Peele with this movie especially, like he's just kind of focusing on our plot. You know, even with the Gordy thing, there's still something in the Gordy thing to tie to the normal plot. You know,
and like the Gordy stuff, like again, even though it is a little disjointed, it still was like, I don't know. That was one of the most intense sequences in the movie is like this poor fucking child hiding under a table while his co-stars are being murdered. Right. Like I thought that was like really fucking intense. My friend Alex that I saw it with actually said that he thinks it's a nod to, and I don't remember this, that like a few years ago, there was like a woman who had a pet chimp.
Yes.
And that you can hear the phone call. And he said he thought that's like,
I think that was so disturbing too. That was a long time ago. That had to have been like, it must have been at least close to 15 years ago. She went to her friend's house and her friend had this big ass chimp and the chimp was out and like complete neglect on her friend's part. And the chimp attacked her. And her friend who owned the chimp, like, couldn't do anything. You can't pull a chimp off of this woman. It was big ass fucking chimp. And she like ran to the car and like called the police and was just watching her friend be like ripped apart. And it's fucking. Have you ever heard it? It is so disturbing. It is like insane. Sure. So when they're doing that whole scene, and you know, they're not showing the little girl be ripped apart, but I can picture it because that's what I was exactly thinking of that when that scene was happening. And it happens in the beginning. The chimp looks at the camera, and it's very like I thought it more like scientific-y. I should have like picked up that it was like a sitcom set, right? But it read to me like an experiment or something. I don't know why. And then when they go back to it, and like chimp looks over and it's a little boy under the table. That was like so scary. It was great to like revisit that in that way, you know. And to go right back to that scene because it just makes it's a lot of character development for the side character that we really didn't need to give him a bunch of side plot, but we did, and I really appreciate it, and it makes it more. We understand like kind of why he's a little bit more, I don't know, illusioned by like. Everybody would be illusioned by an alien in the sky, but you know he's also. I'm guessing with the shoe that he had something supernatural happened to him already, and that he's always been like that and always been super into the supernatural. And so when this happens, he's like he wants everybody to see it too, you know.
Man, now I'm like, God, I bet like in a day there'll be an article being like, this is because the way the shoe was standing up, right? Like a shoe. That wasn't
out of nothing. Yeah, that was something. That was definitely something supernatural. I don't like an animal dying, so the chimp She got shot right in front of me. I was very upset with that. Just killed the little girl. It's okay. Um, what else, man? I love the setting of it. I love the isolated farm.
And it had, I mean, I mentioned this already. I'm going to say it, try not to say it a million times, but very Spielbergian shots, right? Of like, we get the space and like, I didn't know this. Someone just told me it's actually the same cinematographer Christopher Nolan always works with, which makes sense. Because I feel like, you know, a barren field could be boring, but they use their space well. And the house being like at the like top of the hill, not really top, but like whatever, you know, at the central point, felt like a set, right? Like it felt like a set. Yeah, and it just like, I don't know, I love the movie.
We love a good use of space, right? So like in When a Stranger Calls, that's probably one of the best parts of the movie is that they have this house that they can play around with. And we just talk about that all the time, that we love sets that they can play around with. And here they do that, right? We really don't go outside of this all that often. And they really utilize every bit that we have, because I can like, I don't know, we spend enough time with it that we can kind of judge the distance from the house to the arena, and then from the arena onward, and like it all makes sense and it connects in our heads, you know. And then they have these side barns in the stables where all the horses are kept. I loved that it was like their family home, you know, and it brought in, we got a lot of like character stuff with the brother and sister without it having to be like a huge drama. It just felt like a realistic drama in that she didn't want to stick around and do this. You know, she had other things she wanted to do, and she would have been okay just selling the ranch, right? But like, he's holding on to it. Her brother's holding on to it. And I could see how he would be annoyed with her and she would be annoyed with him without them like hating each other, because then they go inside and they have, you know, a nice night together. And I love shit like that.
Zach, I'm not going to lie. Their dynamic was a little bit reminded me of me and you.
I could see it. Who's who?
Who do you think?
I don't know. I read a little bit of Keke Palmer.
Which one of us is wearing a cowboy hat? Which one of us is not?
You've worn a cowboy hat before from the children's section of the Walmart. You should have put yours on. Why didn't you? My goodness. Dropping the ball here.
Is it over there? Oh no, it's not over there.
It's okay.
I had it hanging up over there. I loved like they're arguing, and then I love like, oh, we're gonna go and get some drinks, and he's like, well, I got some weed. She's like, why did you start with that?
Let's
like,
go
that
with
would
that.
also be me.
And I love that, and I love the little, you know, side stories where she's like, because I love this. I do this all the time where I think about a person being in a specific spot and what they were experiencing in that specific spot. Or like I'm a nostalgia freak. So whenever I go back to like a childhood home or something, I'm like, I stood in this spot and did this when I was 5 years old. And I love that she went to the window and did that. And she was like, I saw you guys from this window with Jean Jacket. It's weird that the horse she loved so much, they named the monster Jean Jacket. Like, I don't know what that says about that horse. But,
I would be like, no, we're not using the name of the horse.
I loved Jean Jacket. They, you know, I just loved them, and I loved that they were both kind of on board with aliens. We didn't have any convincing of each other. And
because I feel like you and I both hate that, right? Like,
it's just done too often, and sometimes like just believe something, go with it, and then just look like a fool if you're they have nothing else to lose, right? And it sold him when she's like, we can get $100,000 for this picture. He's like, let's do it.
Yeah, I liked, you know, when they meet Angel, like he's immediately like, what's really going on? Like he's immediately like,
you guys got UFOs, don't you?
Yeah, and I like that. I like that, like, you know, we get like OJ, who's more stoic and like less whatever is believing. Keke Palmer's, is it Emerald? Emerald is like super charming out there, and
they should have just named her Keke.
They should have. And then this guy who like works at fucking whatever the version of Best Buy is immediately like aliens, right? And like, I love, it's still read as realistic, right? Like it didn't feel like, oh, that's stupid. Why? It was like, like tracks.
I just love Angel. Let's go into Angel a little bit, because he was the shining star, the unexpected shining star of this movie, right? He didn't overshadow anybody. Everybody was pretty.
Right. We knew we would love Keke Palmer,
but like, I didn't expect this character, and when he showed up, you know, he's clearly going to be a main character who shows up. But I expected him to die. I expected him to
I
be
did
the Geek
too.
Squad with the van, and he was going to die in his van or something like that.
My friend Alex that I saw, we both kept being like, "Oh no, the hot guy's gonna die now, isn't he?"
Yeah.
Like every other like.
And he's freaking gorgeous, and I love that he just like very clearly has nothing else going on in his life, that he will absolutely just do this. And that, you know, I like that they're all really casual with each other. She's like watching their UFO sightings, and then he comes by the next day after they tell him not to, and they're like, you know, this is illegal to like watch our cameras.
Or when he's like, I mean, I could uncover the cameras in the morning, or you could do it. She's like, no, I like it when you do it. I was like,
Yeah.
that is me.
I want them. I need another movie with them as friends, right? Okay.
That's why I wanted him to be gay, because I liked their dynamic.
And I like that they, like in the diner, they're joking around and laughing with each other. You know, like I like friendships. We love friendships over here at My Bloody Judy.
We do.
He had it pretty rough in this movie. You know,
He did. Like
they really like threw him around.
didn't I really like every other turn? I was like, oh, he's gonna die. Like
Yeah.
I was expecting, and I was glad they didn't, because I hate when they do that. Like when all the shit's pouring on the house and he's hiding under the table and she's by the couch.
Mhm.
I was like, he's gonna run out and get eaten, isn't he? He's gonna run out and get caught. And he didn't. I was glad, because that's like, why the fuck would you? But you know, like so many horror movies do that, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh nope, the kind of dumber one's gonna run out, even though clearly running out is death. I was glad that we didn't like,
Yeah.
and like how he was smart in the end and knew to like, he saw the barbed wire and was like, oh, I'm gonna wrap
Just
myself in
fucking
this.
awful in on its own is wrapping yourself with barbed wire and cutting yourself up. And then you get he got thrown around like twice, didn't he? He got thrown around once, wrapped in a tarp and thrown down a hill, and then he wrapped himself with barbed wire and he gets pulled up again and gets thrown down again. I'm like, fucking hell, Angel.
And a thing that we've been like, I feel like you and I have been saying this a lot for like recent movies, is
Yeah.
I'm so glad we're like done having stupid people in horror movies, right? Because
Yeah.
we don't need someone to be stupid to die. And like also like we can have like a himbo be like, ooh, this barbed wire will save me, I'm gonna wrap myself in it. Like,
Yeah, we don't need we are at the point where we realize that there are tons of different types of people in the world,
Right.
and that some people are just not very smart, you know, and the not very smart person doesn't mean they're like they need to be a victim, right? They
Right.
can very much live. I can live in a horror. I have confidence that I may live in a horror movie now. Yeah, no, I think he was my favorite, and it might have been because of the looks, you know, like that probably played.
Kiki
into
Palmer
it,
is
but-
my favorite, but he was a very close.
No, he was my favorite. Kiki Palmer was definitely second, and then I liked the brother. I did, but I'm a hard sell on a guy who like doesn't speak ever. You know, like I need something from you, and I understand that
Also-
that's his character, but
Also, yeah, I felt like it's weird that Jordan Peele keeps giving him these roles that like he's kind of just like the one in trouble. There's not like much like dynamic
yeah,
about him. Also, Nana over here, him and the director dude, Antlers. I had trouble understanding them because they both like mumbled low talk a lot. Like this.
I don't know why they did the antlers. The antlers guy was weird to me. I could have like done without him. Maybe like bring in Ricky or something. Maybe he survived like his, you know, and feels bad
thought
that
he
he
would
just
be
killed
there at the
47
end,
people
yeah.
or something. Yeah. But it was the antlers guy was weird. I didn't even know his name was Antlers. Again, I don't remember any of their names here.
I have it up on IMDb because
But
you
we
said
just
you were
had,
bringing it up.
we just had like he just came on the phone and they kept, the impossible is impossible.
Right, I was
And I'm
like-
come on now, come on.
What's he saying? What's he doing?
Yeah, don't do this. But I love that he showed up and Kiki Palmer was like, I told you he'd bring what did you call it? It was like a wireless camera or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
It was fucking amazing. That was so funny. Like my theater like roared with laughter when they did that. And her
She's
and her
so
brother,
good.
but like her brother got as hype as she got when that happened. And I'm like, that's what I wanted more from.
Yeah.
I do like the contrast between them, though.
Yes.
I won't shit on that. I think the contrast between them works really well, and it's both sides of a coin, you know, and it works well as a brother sister dynamic.
Yeah.
I love when Angel. Another moment this might be one of my favorite moments of the movie is when Angel shows up the next day and is like running out there, and he's like, "Do you see that?" And I'm looking in the sky. I'm like, "I don't know what I see. What I see." And he's like, "That cloud doesn't move." And they show the video. I'm like, "Oh fuck! Oh my god! That cloud is not moving." I got like as hype as he did, you know.
That was
that
in
was-
every trailer. So
That was good. Oh, was it? I didn't see that one. Okay, well,
But no, because the director says it in the original trailer. He's like, that cloud ain't moved, blah, 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 blah.
Oh,
Like,
I must have missed it. I haven't watched that trailer since we watched it together.
we did a trailer reaction that did not come out because my sound was broken.
It's okay. It's okay. We're doing the movie. Hopefully this will come out. Unless it's an alien, fucking with our sound again. I just love that. I love the whole, again, going back to the monster, that like, what is the cloud that it's hiding in then? Is it like holding a real cloud, or is the cloud like a basket that it made?
I took it as like, because at the end when it puffs itself out, I was a little bit, because it had picked up so much, I was like, oh, is there a tarp attached? Like, is it choking on a tarp? Like when it started to expand? And then I was like, oh no, that's the thing. So what I'm assuming is that because it could do like the weird wingspan looking whatever, that's what the cloud was. It was just like the body expanding.
Okay. Oh, well, that makes sense, I guess. And it can just detach itself from the cloud, I guess. Huh.
Or it could have just been like it, because it's a monster, it has powers to like.
But
great,
this
I'm
is
gonna
what
put
I
up
like. This is what I like, is that there's questions, and it's not like spoon fed to us, because it's scary. I thought it was pretty scary. Whenever they're in the house and it starts, I thought it was so freaky when we start getting the mechanics of it. We already know that there's like a bunch of people in there and we hear them. That was fucking wild. And then it's basically like holding them in its mouth, and then it like does a chew, just like
yeah.
And then the fucking blood on the house. I love some shit like that. Very Evil Dead, 2013. And the house was just washed. I'm like, there's 47 people going. I kept thinking about this all the time. There's 47 people now missing, and your house is covered in their blood. Their property is all over your property. There's tricycles and bikes, and how you getting out of this?
I really was like, okay, now I just leave. Like, right? Like, I don't know what I would just be like, well, we gotta go. Like,
yeah. So what was the TMZ guy doing there? I don't understand that part.
That was one of the things where I was like, I kept waiting for him to be an alien. He kept that stupid fucking helmet on the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, this is a distraction that the thing created. It can create the clouds, so it can create whatever. And I thought there was like, he's not taking off his mask, so he's clearly there's something going on, but then there wasn't. It was just the TMZ.
Well, I figured that he was somebody else who already knew about this, and that we just had multiple people who knew about this. And I'm like, oh, well, this might be too much. I still think it was a little like much. I was like, well, I don't understand what you're doing here then, because he goes up there, but then he's not there for them. He keeps driving. So where is he driving to? Is he driving
to cloud?
I don't know. It was not clear to me. But he dies. I'm glad we got an expendable character.
But I mean, are you kidding? We got 40 some people dying all at once in like a very brutal scene.
Jordan Peele said, oh, fuck the kids, fuck the children.
And like, was that his wife that we were following the whole time?
Yeah, that's what I thought, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But there was a couple people, because we went up and we saw a couple people. That was so freaky. You've seen Fire in the Sky, right?
I don't remember. I remember it, but I don't remember if I've like seen
him on the actual spaceship, and his memory of the spaceship is so short and brief, but so freaky. And I just think like when we build up what an alien will actually do to you, I always love that shit. So I love seeing that it just basically like sucks you into it, and then but it's like not invincible. It wasn't an invincible sort of creature. It was just a big creature that, how do you take down a big creature, right?
It's like flying in the sky, right?
Yeah,
and
like pop a balloon in it. Well, we need a big balloon.
And I thought the two most terrifying, I thought that was a terrifying scene just because like, again, like this poor girl that like got her face ripped off is now like comes to town to visit her like former coworker, and she then dies. Like,
I wish I was very much expecting somebody to have survived and like be hiding in like a corner, and I thought it was either going to be her or it was going to be Ricky.
I thought it was going to be her or one of the kids. Is what I thought. Like, I thought he was gonna, when OJ's running through there, like when it tries to pick him up again, I did think that like he was gonna find a survivor in there. Or when Kiki Palmer was running through it, I thought she was gonna find a survivor.
Yeah.
But I did think that scene was like, I still don't quite understand why it couldn't get the horse if it could pick up like everything.
I'm thinking that had to have been like bolted into the ground or something like that. There had to have been a foundation for it, because I think that's what was happening. But I also think this thing was smarter than they gave it credit for, because it came in and directly went for the people. Like it did go for them.
And like it hadn't. And I took that like that was actually it getting revenge because it didn't want to eat the people. Like that's why it went over the house and spit them all out, because like it was like, I know you're fucking with me.
Yeah.
fuck you,
Well, this
right?
and they said like it's its territory and it's just
Yeah.
protecting its territory, which was a really smart thing to do. That it didn't they didn't give it any sort of other motive than like something animalistic and very driven by nature.
And that
Um,
worked.
yeah, and they I don't know. I think that was one of my favorite parts too. Is when he is doing that the big show and has everybody out there because he kept inviting everybody. He kept going, come out to my show,
Yeah.
come watch this alien kill us all. So that was so. I'm guessing what the reason he kept just buying horses was because he kept feeding them the
Yeah. Yeah.
horses. Okay, well, and so the horses were just the first ones to stare at this thing. I guess is
I
that
guess
what was
it's
happening? Because I
that's why
thought
he
the
put
horses were like driving them or something at one point.
right. That's what I thought too. But I think at the end, because I was like, wait, why the fuck did he put that on the horse? But he put that like weird like
Yeah,
hood
yeah,
on the horse, and it's because their eyes are here, right? So like even if they're
yes,
not looking up, it like looks like they're looking at it,
yeah,
and so that way they're not looking at it. And I guess it's but like again,
yeah.
we didn't. It wasn't only you look at it and it eats you. It still ate a bunch of people that right. Like it still ate things that didn't look at it.
Well, everything, all the people were looking at it. They were all
Well, no,
like
no.
sitting there staring up at it.
But I mean, like when the horses are running away, it's running after them. Or like when they're not looking, like Kiki Palmer's head's down and it's still like going after her. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I'm like, if it looks at you once, if it catches you looking at it once, does it just hone in on you even if you stop looking at it, or does
right?
it?
Yeah.
I guess that's a question. I love that. That's its motivation. Don't fucking look at me.
Don't look at me.
Don't
Yeah.
fucking look at me.
Listen, I feel like you and I have both been in that mood.
Cheer you
I
up
get
and
it.
spit you out in the most literal sense.
Yeah. But
Uh,
so also I want to talk about I thought like the most intense like chase scene was the
yeah.
scene in the house, like on the compound when OJ's like hiding in that the like I don't know what the hell that was, the like little shack area by the horse
hmm
thing. I don't know farm
It's
terms.
just like a barn
Okay, like
stable.
when he's hiding in there and it keeps like coming around and then it like has the and you're like and Kiki Palmer like I don't know, I thought that was like I was very much like fuck like
Yeah. I fully because the one moment from the trailer that I definitely had like stamped into my memory was Kiki Palmer being lifted into the air because everybody made the meme out of that. And so
Yeah,
as I
yeah.
was watching it, we figured out what was happening, why it happens, what the monster does. I'm like, fuck, she's
Right?
gonna
Did you-
die.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was so glad she didn't because that's what I thought too.
But she just wasn't looking at it, so she got swept into a tornado for a second. It wasn't like tornadoing her
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
you know. So that was good though. And then I liked that it wasn't, you know, we have a lot of monsters nowadays that are very much similar. They're like the Cloverfield monster, the Stranger Things monster, or you know, the Annihilation monster. They all have like same sort of like build
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and movements. And I like this. It was like a sheet in the air.
Yeah.
Like just like whatever the fuck this thing was.
And when it's I appreciated I think that's why I appreciated it. So it was just so different. Like
Yeah.
and when its mouth had like the different squares opening up into a different colored square.
Yeah.
I was like, this shit's weird, and I kind of like that it's weird, right? Like
Oh, I
it didn't
loved
look
it.
like something we'd seen before. It looked like a weird painting you would see in like a museum or some
Mhm.
shit. And like people would be like, well, that part signifies this, this, and this. And like it just kind of like flowered, right? When the mouth, it's like a square that kept flowering into like
Yeah, it was like flowering, and I think it would like retract, come back, and like
Yeah.
it was almost like a line that just kept going through, like a dance line.
yeah.
I don't know. It was real creative. This is what I love about Jordan Peele is that he doesn't really like he definitely has some tropes in his stuff, but
Yeah.
his shit is the most original out there in terms of horror. Like he really is taking his time to think about things and like come up with a really cool story, or at least a really cool like monster or people stuck in an underground mall or whatever they were in. Like he's real creative and real original, and I love that, and I think a lot of filmmakers really need to follow that.
Yeah, and like I do think that's why we like the horror is because like I like Us and Get Out weren't really like scary. They were more thrillers, but they still
Yeah.
were like very different, right? And I like that.
I would still say this is more thriller too, more thriller leaning than actual horror. I think the like blood raining on the house was very much horror, but everything else
Yeah.
is very sci-fi.
It felt like I said, it felt like Steven Spielberg sci-fi horror kind
Yeah.
of shit. Like I described it to my dad when I was like telling him, I was like, I think you might actually like it to my dad. I was like, it reminded me of Close Encounters of the, what number is it? Third kind, first kind?
I think third God, right?
Close. It reminded me of Close Encounters, but like mixed with like Signs and or maybe Independence Day.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, it gave us your classic sort of alien fare setup without
Yeah.
copy pasting the Alien movie.
Mhm.
It. I love a Western.
I don't,
Shocker.
but I still love
Shocker.
this.
I love that this was like very Western set. Um, there was one point that was a little bit unrealistic is when they go out and they get all the security footage, they come back and then Kiki Palmer's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the store. No, you do all of your chores out once when you live that far from town. You gotta do it all at once. But no, I loved that it was set out there, and I loved their whole family business. I loved that was like we have history behind it, and that
Yeah.
it was their grandfather that was on the horse. In the first, it was the first moving picture. Is that what they said? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool. That was
Yeah.
real cool. I thought it was it gave them this legacy that we don't really need to have flashbacks with, because I thought we were gonna get flashbacks. I'm like, I don't know if we need flashbacks, but we already had that context there, and we're like, oh, that's real cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like it just added to the story, right?
Yeah, I think everything just added to the story. I think everything was so purposeful in this that I'm having trouble thinking of anything that just didn't make sense. I don't know. I think everything was just there. I love when they go to Elliot's house, and I love seeing what his house looks like, his apartment, like very real. Right? He doesn't live in a poorhouse. Our version of a horror poorhouse. Yeah.
And I like, I just like that I also like the scene when Stephen Young's character comes over to like invite them to the thing where everyone gets killed.
Yes, that's another really good one.
And like when Angel chimes in, he's like, all right, bye. And she's like, you don't live here. Like, I love that.
Well, that whole scene, it needs just an Emmy on its own, or an Oscar, or whatever. Not an Emmy, Golden Globe. That she fucking. I love that she steals things throughout this movie, right? And then we see Angel stealing things, and he's a little terrified to do it. And she steals that horse, and when the guy comes driving up, they think that he's coming to call her out on it. Yeah. And she's like, "Hello, stay right there. Don't come any closer."
Yeah.
And he says, as he's about to say, where'd you get yours? She says it first. She's like, where'd you get yours?
Yeah.
It's just like so smart thinking that like it's just fucking funny. That's like a person I would love to hang out with. She's like fantastic.
Right. Like even though she's very like big, she still felt real, right? Like she's a big character, but she felt like a real person still.
And I like that we didn't get like sort of a moment where Ricky from the other ranch comes and tries to like fuck them over at all or anything like that. He was very much invested in his own interests, and he just wanted to come invite them to watch his alien that he discovered. He's not there to like bust anybody for stealing the horse.
But I will say that I was a little bit like, wait a minute, what? Like suddenly that his show was like showing everyone like I didn't know, like when did his show become about aliens, and how wouldn't they have known that his show was about aliens? Is what I was a little.
That was the very first show that they were going to do about the aliens, and I think he wanted to show everybody. I think he'd had plenty of experiences already up until that point. They had been sacrificing horses over and over, kind of figured this thing out, figured out a pattern. Because even when it shows up, he's like, "It's never shown up this early before. It's kind of early right now." Right before they go out, after he has his whole flashback, his wife joins hands with him, and it's almost like they're praying to it, right? Or praying for it, or, kind of worshiping it. And so this is something that they've been interacting with for quite a while, I think. I think they already had it figured out. But
that was their first show showing it. Okay.
Yeah, and so he's figured out how to attract it, but not really how to keep it from, like, eating all of them. He doesn't know that you don't look at it. He just knows if I have a horse, it'll come from a horse.
Right. And I guess that makes sense just because, like, in general, a horse is bigger. So that would be a better meal for, like, a giant monster, right? Like, rather than a small human. And
he was trying to get the horse to go out of the stall that it was in, and it just wouldn't move,
That horse
I'm glad the horse survived. I'm so happy that it survived.
Like that, the children, whatever.
I just didn't understand what was happening with the horses at first. I was like, are they coming back? Are they an alien? Or what are we seeing here?
Little horses in that saucer flying.
Because they like, he's like, the horses are making noises I've never heard them make before. I'm like, well, why are they making the noises? Are they evil? Are they evil horses now?
I mean, I knew it was because they were dying. I just didn't know what was.
I didn't.
Like, it was
I had no idea.
I assumed, I was like, oh, this is the horse like scream dying.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it, is that it kind of like unfolded before me, and I was guessing, but I was also very much sitting there and completely letting it just take me where it wanted to take me. Right, the whole movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and like that is like a very good sign of an enjoyable movie, right?
Yeah, I'd say solid like 4 out of 5. I'd say 5 out of 5 stars. I can't find anything that I don't like about it. I need to watch it again. Maybe I'll find something, but
I mean, like,
I quite like it.
we had like our few critiques, but even with those, I don't know, it's still like, I can say that those were things that like maybe weren't 100%, but like I fucking love the movie anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to see it again, which is a really good mark for me. I think we are just, like we've mentioned it before, that we're just having a really good year with horror right now.
Yeah.
You know, like we're having back-to-back, and it's mainstream horror too, that we're having back-to-back like mainstream horror movies that are doing really well. They're all doing well at the box office. Like Black Phone, I think, is it over $100 million by now?
I think I saw that. Yeah, I think
that's
I saw
fucking
that on
cool, because that means we'll get more horror. Did you get the Bodies trailer before it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I got it, and it was so cool. It was like a
got
really
a
cool trailer to see.
Bunch of other horror movie trailers.
Did you see the Airbnb one?
I don't know that I did. We must have had different trailers.
Oh my gosh, what trailers did you get?
I literally, as I said, I got so many horror. I was like, I can't think of a single one. Nope. I did get the Airbnb. That's where she goes down.
Yes,
the guy.
yeah.
Yeah. I did get that one because I think that looks good.
It does.
That looks like one of those movies that could be like, it's like a trailer that like doesn't give you, it like confuses you more than anything. So like,
yeah, it's gonna be a try-hard movie.
Yes, yeah. I'm always a little bit weary of like horror movies like that,
Yeah.
because like then it could be that it's like, oh, just
I'll completely eat my words if I'm wrong too, but it looks like a pick me girl. A pick me girl, you know, that's like you'll just have to look it up. I can't describe pick me girl.
No, but I mean, in relation to them, I know what it is, but I don't know how it relates.
Yeah, it's like a try hard movie. It's just a try hard. I feel like it's like advertising itself as one thing, and it's going to. I feel like when I watch it, it's going to try to do like 4 or 5 twists and turns that are not going to be cohesive. But again, I will watch it and eat my words if I'm wrong. It's just like it's already given me that vibe. Bodies looks fun. You know, it looks like a fun like campy movie. We also had. Did you see the Genie trailer? I've been like really wanting to see that one with the Genie and Tilda Swinton.
Oh no.
Yeah, and it's got Idris Elba.
No,
I love to watch that one. That looks good.
I got the very weird Idris Elba versus a lion trailer.
Versus a lion.
Yeah, it's like he takes his 2 daughters to like a safari in Africa, and they find this like camp or like tribe that's all been murdered by a lion, and it's a lion hunting them.
We have had very different trailer experiences. Clearly, we're not watching the same thing. Did you see the Christopher Nolan trailer right before the movie started? Did they play that for you? They played, and it's like all bathed in fire. The whole trailer is like fire.
Oh yeah, yes.
Okay,
yes,
I thought that was the movie.
Wait, Zach, Alex, who I saw it with, I turned to him and went, oh my God, I thought that was the start of the movie. He was like, so did I.
Because they ended the trailers. They did like a studio opening.
And did your lights go down too?
Yeah, and then they had that one, and I was like, well, this is going to be like what they lend their horses to. Like the horses are in this movie or something. And I'm like, that's cool that they got Christopher Nolan to like, you know, do a faux trailer for it. No, it's an actual Christopher Nolan movie. No, I can't tell you what it's called. It's called what happens in a million 3 hours or something. I don't fucking care about it. Maybe later. But there's a little trickery.
I feel like you would like a Christopher Nolan. I feel very about him.
I do sometimes. Pretentious either works on me or it doesn't.
I feel like it more works on you than it works on me.
Oh, absolutely. But sometimes it's just like, you got to roll your eyes, you know? And Christopher Nolan is one of those that I do definitely roll my eyes. After he did The Dark Knight, he like knew that he was like the shit. And he was like, oh, I want to do all these other ones, you know? Inception. I'm like, don't ever make a fucking movie like that again. No. The human race is not smart enough for that.
He just feels to me like someone who's a little bit like jerking themselves off.
Oh yes. Him, Michael Bay, they're all in the same room, circle jerking together.
And granted, I will give him the credit. Like he's definitely like Michael Bay is just Transformers, but like he definitely is like
They all have my money. They all have my
Right.
money. Michael Bay has platinum Dunes. I'll give him full credit for that. He did all of my favorite 2000s horror remakes. So there you go. Yeah, no, this was a really good movie. I'd give it like 5 out of 5 stars. I definitely want to see it again, which is really, really great because I really want to like kind of figure out the things that I'm a little bit more confused about and see if they did, that was more cohesive, because there's going to be people being like, you didn't get it, you stupid asses.
I know. I was, when I couldn't find anything on like, because I did see someone tweeted, it was like, if you are familiar with the SEP Foundation, I have no idea what the fuck that is. I Googled it and it's a fictional account of like aliens news reports. I don't know if that's like actually
I love an alien, but I just, sorry, that one's going to go over my head. And there's going to be the people who say, oh, you didn't understand that the floating shoe was a reference to Lovecraftian,
we recorded
Hitchcockian.
the day after we saw the movie. There aren't a lot of articles out about it yet.
Give us a fucking second, right? I was getting pissed because by fucking Tuesday of earlier this week, people were already giving their fucking reviews. And it was like, they were being very...
I saw that.
What was the movie that came out that everybody was giving it high praise? And it was a recent one. I don't remember, but they were all giving it like this high praise, and it ruined the whole experience for me. And I was seeing that like crazy earlier this week, and I was really pissed. And so I tried to stay off social media as much as I could this week. And I'm glad it didn't get ruined for me,
Listen, when you run a podcast online, it's hard to stay off social media.
Oh, fucking hell, man. Fucking hell. Okay, well...
This will be a fun one. Maybe like when it comes on streaming, we should do like
we
a
should
live
do a
watch.
watch for it. Yeah, I think other people would like that one too. I think it'd be fun. Yeah, what'd you think of Nope? Let us know. And yeah. Follow us on My Bloody Judy. We'll see you later. Bye.